What if your next car needed zero gasoline, zero charging, and produced nothing but water? Not a concept car, not a prototype. Honda just built it, and it's already on the road. While every car company on Earth is racing to build bigger batteries and faster chargers, Honda quietly went in a completely different direction. They took their best-selling SUV, the CR-V, ripped out the engine, skipped the giant battery pack, and replaced everything with hydrogen. Fill up in 3 minutes, drive nearly 400 miles. The only thing coming out of the tailpipe is water vapor. No emissions, no hours spent at a charging station, no range anxiety. But here's the thing most people miss. This isn't Honda's first attempt. They tried this before, and it failed. So what changed? And more importantly, can hydrogen actually compete with electric vehicles, or is Honda making a massive mistake? Let's break it down. In 2015, Honda revealed the Clarity fuel cell at the Tokyo Motor Show. It wasn't a concept. Japanese customers could actually buy it. The technology was impressive. A hydrogen fuel cell, which is an electrochemical system that converts hydrogen into electricity to power an electric motor, gave the Clarity a range of roughly 360 miles. Refueling took under 5 minutes. The only emission was water vapor. First, let's be fair. Electric vehicles have been incredible. 10 years ago, the idea of a silent, emission-free car seemed like science fiction. Today, EVs are everywhere. Charging networks are expanding, battery technology keeps improving, governments worldwide are offering tax breaks and subsidies to push people away from gasoline. Some countries have announced that petrol and diesel car sales will end within the next 10 to 15 years. EVs deserve credit. They change the conversation. But they're not perfect, and pretending otherwise doesn't help anyone. EV batteries are heavy and rely on materials like lithium and cobalt. Mining these metals damages ecosystems, and the supply is limited. Recycling technology is improving through companies like Redwood Materials and Li-Cycle, but it's still catching up to demand. Charging remains slow compared to refueling. Even fast chargers take 20 to 40 minutes, and in many regions, charging infrastructure barely exists. And here's one people rarely talk about. In some areas, power grids are already struggling. People are being asked not to charge cars during peak hours because the electrical system can't handle the load. None of this means EVs are bad. It means they're not the only answer. And that's exactly where Honda's thinking begins. To understand Honda's approach, you need to understand their DNA. Soichiro Honda, the founder, wasn't a businessman in a suit. He was a mechanic. Born in 1906 to a blacksmith father, he grew up taking things apart and rebuilding them better. After World War II, when Japan was devastated and fuel was scarce, he did something brilliantly simple. He attached surplus military generator motors to bicycles, giving ordinary people affordable transportation. It wasn't pretty, but it worked. That philosophy never left the company. Honda introduced the CVCC engine in the 1970s, when American pollution regulations were crushing other manufacturers. They developed VTEC technology that squeezed serious power from small, efficient engines. They were among the first to bring hybrid cars to the United States. Honda's pattern has always been the same. Don't follow the crowd, find a smarter path. So when the entire industry went all in on batteries, Honda asked a different question. What if hydrogen is the better tool for certain jobs? In 2015, Honda revealed the Clarity fuel cell at the Tokyo Motor Show. It wasn't a concept. Japanese customers could actually buy it. The technology was impressive. A hydrogen fuel cell, which is an electrochemical system that converts hydrogen into electricity to power an electric motor, gave the Clarity a range of roughly 360 miles. Refueling took under 5 minutes. The only emission was water vapor. But it flopped. Not because the technology failed, because the world wasn't ready. Hydrogen refueling stations barely existed. Unless you lived in parts of California or Japan, finding fuel was nearly impossible. Meanwhile, EVs were gaining massive momentum. Tesla was becoming a household name. Governments were pouring money into charging networks. Hydrogen got almost no public support, no subsidies, no visibility. In 2021, Honda discontinued the Clarity. But they didn't abandon hydrogen. They studied what went wrong, kept refining the technology, and waited for the right moment. That moment is now. Honda's new move is smart for one specific reason. They didn't build a strange, unfamiliar vehicle. They took the CR-V, one of the most recognized and trusted SUVs in the world, and reimagined what powers it. From the outside, it looks like a regular CR-V, comfortable, family-friendly, plenty of cargo space. But underneath, everything is different. Two high-pressure hydrogen tanks sit at the rear. A compact fuel cell system under the floor converts hydrogen into electricity, powering an electric motor. No gasoline engine. No massive battery pack requiring hours of charging. Here's what matters in daily life. Refueling takes 3 to 5 minutes, just like gasoline. A full tank delivers close to 400 miles of range, exceeding most battery EVs on the market. And the CR-V can even export power. During a blackout, it can run your home appliances. It essentially becomes a mobile power station. Honda developed this in partnership with General Motors, combining Honda's fuel cell expertise with GM's electric vehicle platform knowledge. The result is a system that's smaller, more efficient, and more practical than anything Honda built before. They're launching it strategically, starting in California and Japan, where hydrogen stations already exist, and expanding as infrastructure grows. Now, here's where intellectual honesty matters, because hydrogen isn't a magic solution either. The biggest issue is efficiency. The process of producing hydrogen, compressing it, transporting it, and converting it back to electricity in a fuel cell loses a lot of energy along the way. The overall efficiency is roughly 25 to 35% compared to 70 to 90% for battery electric vehicles. That means you need significantly more renewable energy to drive the same distance on hydrogen. Then there's the fuel source problem. About 95% of hydrogen produced today comes from natural gas through a process called steam methane reforming, which releases carbon dioxide. Green hydrogen, made by splitting water using renewable energy, is the clean version, but it's currently expensive and limited in supply. Cost is another hurdle. Hydrogen fuel in California runs roughly $20 to $36 per kilogram, and the CR-V uses about 1 kilogram every 60 to 70 miles. That's more expensive per mile than both gasoline and electricity right now. And hydrogen stations themselves cost $1 to $5 million each to build, far more than EV fast chargers. So why pursue it at all? Because there are specific areas where batteries simply struggle. Long-haul trucking, city buses running 18-hour shifts, remote regions where building charging infrastructure is impractical, heavy commercial vehicles that can't afford to sit idle for hours recharging. In these applications, hydrogen's fast refueling and long range aren't just convenient, they're essential. This is why governments are paying attention. Japan has made hydrogen central to its national energy strategy. Germany is building hydrogen networks for heavy transport. China is investing billions in hydrogen buses, taxis, and commercial fleets. The United States is funding hydrogen hubs across multiple states. Honda sees passenger vehicles like the CR-V as the entry point, a way to prove the technology, build public familiarity, and drive infrastructure growth that benefits the entire hydrogen ecosystem. They're also part of a Japanese consortium alongside Toyota, Subaru, Mazda, and Yamaha, working on ultra-clean combustion engines that can run on hydrogen, biofuels, or even ammonia, offering options beyond fuel cells for regions where full electrification isn't feasible. Honda isn't claiming hydrogen will replace electric vehicles, and anyone who frames it that way is missing the point. The future of transportation probably isn't one technology, it's several. Battery EVs for daily commutes and short trips, hydrogen for heavy transport, long distances, and areas with weak electrical grids, and possibly clean combustion engines for applications we haven't fully considered yet. What Honda is doing with the CR-V is proving that hydrogen works in a real, practical, everyday vehicle. Not a concept, not a press release. A car you can drive to work, load up with groceries, and take on a road trip. The clarity was too early. The infrastructure wasn't there. The world wasn't listening. But now, stations are being built, governments are investing, and the limitations of a battery-only future are becoming harder to ignore. Honda bet on hydrogen when nobody was watching. The question now is whether the rest of the world is ready to pay attention. If this breakdown gave you a new perspective, hit like and subscribe. We cover the technology stories that most channels skip over. See you in the next one.